Yesterday, the NCAA tournament released what their top 16 seeds at the moment are looking like in the bracket. So today we're going to be breaking that down a little bit. Now, obviously, this is subject to change. It's going to change by next week. It's going to change for sure by the time we get to next month and get to March Madness. Heck, even Purdue lost today to Ohio State. That's going to probably drop them a little bit. They'll still probably be a 1 seed, but it's probably going to drop them. But let's look at the Midwest region first. All right, we got Purdue as the 1 seed. San Diego State, a surprise entry here as the 4 seed. They probably had a stronger resume last year, to be honest with you. And this is probably a result of them making the tournament last year for giving them this high seed. Number 2 in the Midwest, Tennessee. All right, had a pretty solid year so far. And number 3, Baylor. All right, moving over to the right, the East region. All right, you've got UConn as the 1 seed, Wisconsin as the 4 seed. North Carolina as the 2 seed, Iowa State as the 3 seed. We'll get to those teams a little bit more in a minute. Going down to the South region, bottom right. All right, Houston, the 1 seed, Illinois, the 4 seed, Marquette, the 2, Alabama, the 3. Then moving over finally to the West, Arizona, the 1, Auburn, the 4, Kansas, the 2, Duke, the 3. All right, so they said they did have to move it around a little bit. So this isn't necessarily the top 16 in order. They had to move it a little bit, so we didn't have multiple Big Ten teams in each region, in the top 4 or whatever. They try to adjust that as well as possible. But we already talked about a little bit about the Midwest. Okay, so let's talk about the East region. All right, with UConn. UConn probably going to be your new number 1 team now that Purdue lost to Ohio State today. They'll probably move up. Wisconsin kind of had a strange last couple weeks. They've really been dropping. I think they dropped about 5 games in a row to almost all undefeated, not undefeated, not ranked, unranked teams. Why can't I talk all of a sudden? But kind of strange stretch there for Wisconsin, going cold at the wrong moment. North Carolina, 2 seed. All right. North Carolina kind of had an up and down year so far. Now, this is a lot of the same team, Armando Bacot, RJ Davis, that were on that team that made the championship a few years ago. So I think North Carolina is really capable of making a run this year, especially having Bacot and Davis. But we'll see. Sometimes they're kind of hit and miss, and they'll disappoint and they'll just drop again if they shouldn't lose, But I think North Carolina is a serious threat down the road. I wouldn't want to play them. All right, then Iowa State, the 3 seed in the East region, really good defensively, have a chance to move up in this a lot, depending on how they close out this last month. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up as a 2 seed probably, but they could drop too, depending on what happens. They're actually at the moment the number 1 seed in the Big 12. If the Big 12 ended today, they're number 1. So Iowa State plays really good defense. I don't know if they're a championship caliber team, but a team you don't want to see. A team that'll beat you if you were to match up with them in the Sweet 16 or something. A team that could definitely dip you. I don't think they're championship caliber, but a team I wouldn't want to play just because of how good they are defensively. All right, then moving down to the South region, Houston. All right, in my opinion, this region is stacked. All right, Houston is definitely one of the title favorites at the moment. I would say them or UConn probably. Houston gets after you defensively, and they pound the rebounds hard. Watched them against Texas yesterday. They manhandled Texas. It looked like a 1 seed versus a 16 seed. They were killing them on the boards. They were trapping them whenever they wanted to defensively, and they were just getting out and running and dunking. All right, 4 seed Illinois. Illinois, I think, is a sleeper team in this tournament. All right, they've got 2 All-American candidates. I would say Terrence Shannon Jr. and Coleman Hawkins are capable of winning you ball games, and they're a team I wouldn't want to play. All right, they're probably going to upset some teams, but they're also a team that could just lose to somebody they shouldn't lose to and bow out weekend 1. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't be surprised if Illinois makes a deep run. Now, this is a tough region, so it would be tough getting out of this if you have to play Houston in the Sweet 16. But I think Illinois is a serious threat if they can somehow get a better matchup there. All right, then 2, Marquette, coming off that loss to UConn yesterday, really got beat up pretty good against UConn. UConn clinging kind of did whatever the heck you wanted against Marquette. Now, I think Marquette is a good team. They've got Kolek, obviously. The problem is Shaka, ever since his VCU run, kind of bows out in the tournament, and it's usually not capable of making a good run, especially when he's a high seed or a low seed, however you want to put it. But Marquette's good, but I don't know, if they can make a serious deep run. Alabama, on the other hand, scored 100 points yesterday. Their offense is capable of putting up some serious points. The only problem is if they go cold, what's going to happen? If you go cold, are they going to lose to a team weekend 1 where they shouldn't lose to? It's possible. All right, then moving over to the West region, all right, you got Arizona. Arizona definitely has the talent to win the championship this year. I don't know if they will. but they definitely have the talent to make a deep run there. Obviously, you got Caleb Love coming over from North Carolina. Some people thought that was maybe a gain for North Carolina. I don't know. Jury's still out on that. But Arizona, talent-wise, can play with anybody, but been somewhat disappointing this year as far as not what I expected going into this year. They're still obviously a top 5 team, but I thought they'd be even better than that probably. All right, 4 seed at the moment, Auburn. They did lose to Kentucky yesterday, so they're probably going to drop out, be replaced by Creighton or somebody like that. Auburn, Bruce Pearl's team you never want to play. They'll sometimes actually make a deep run as a lower seed, being like a 8, 9, 7 somewhere in there, make a deep run into maybe the Elite 8, Sweet 16. But usually seeing them as a higher seed, who knows? They did lose that game yesterday, though. Like I said, so they'll probably drop out. All right, 2 seed in this, Kansas. All right, Kansas definitely has potential to be a Final Four team, but they haven't really lived up to that potential to me so far this year from what I've seen, especially like yesterday, for example, at Oklahoma. They're so bad on the road right now that I don't know. It's a little questionable unless they can somehow get a good draw as far as being the home team. Obviously, you got Hunter Dickinson down low from Michigan. They've still got a few guys from that championship team. All right, you've got the point guard. I can't think of his name right now, but number 3. And then you've got a couple other guys that were on that championship team that you're deep. You're not necessarily deep, but you are proven. All right, those guys have been there before. They've made Final Four runs. They've made tournament runs. And so you're older, which should benefit you come tournament time. All right, the number 3, you got Duke. All right, a Duke team that hasn't necessarily lived up to the potential going into this year. There were a lot of teams preseason like number 1, number 2, then with Michigan State, besides Purdue probably. They definitely have talent. All right, so if they can turn it on at the right time, they're not a team I would want to see in the tournament. If they can get hot, I wouldn't be surprised, if they do get hot and then make a serious run. It's definitely possible. But let me know your thoughts on this bracket preview. All right, who do you think shouldn't be on this list? Who should move in? If you are taking somebody off this list, who would you put on this list? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video. Most importantly, subscribe.